Now suppose I want to use a TI-83 or 84 to run a regression. Let me take the same data set that I used in StatCrunch, ACT Math versus Statistics final exam. So first thing we need to do is turn our diagnostic on. This is something you will normally only need to do one time, and then it'll stay on unless you have to reset your calculator for some reason. So to do this, press second catalog or second 0 to access the catalog, and I'm going to go down to diagnostic. I can scroll down, or I can go ahead and go down to the D's for diagnostic. Alpha is already selected. I'm going to press the X-1 key, and now I'm already a little bit further down than I would be otherwise. And I want my diagnostic to be on. I'm going to select enter and then press enter. It just says done. Let me clear the screen. Now let's enter our data. Press stat, edit. In general, I put my X into L1 and my Y into L2. My independent variable into L1, dependent into L2. So here's my data. I'm just going to start typing in. When I'm done entering the first column, the X column, scroll over. Now I'm going to enter in the values for the Y column, starting with 88, 95, 81, etc. It's really important that you make sure you clear these out before you enter these in. Don't just write over the numbers. It'll work, but I've seen students, and I myself have made errors that way. So just go ahead and clear those out. And we clear them out. Let's say we had some values in here. Let's say I had 96 in there. I can scroll all the way up to the top and press clear and then press enter. Now we're good to go. Okay, now that we have the data entered in, I want to run a linear regression. I usually do this from the home screen. So I'm going to press second mode, go back to the home screen, press stat, scroll over to calc. We have a couple options. We can go to number 4. This is lin regress AX plus B, or we can go to number 8. Lin regress A plus BX, depending upon how you want it to look. Let's just choose this first one. My X list is in L1, Y list is in L2. I can leave the frequency list, just leave it blank. Suppose I want to store this regression equation. I actually want to see this regression equation graphed. I'm going to go ahead and put this into Y1. So press vars, scroll over to yvars, it's a function, and select Y1. Sort of an optional step, and then press calculate. So here I'm given my equation. My equation would be y equals 1.05x plus 58.812, depending upon your rounding. I'm also given my r squared value, coefficient determination, and my correlation coefficient at 0.47. The coefficient determination, the r squared, was 0.22. If you don't see these values, the r squared and the r, that means your diagnostic was not turned on. Go ahead and do that again, and then rerun the regression, and it should appear. Notice this is exactly the same that we get when we run this regression in StatCrunch. We have 58.81181, exactly the same we get for our constant value, and then our slope 1.05 about, we get 1.05. Our correlation coefficient and coefficient determination are also exactly the same. Now, before we actually run a linear regression, we should always plot it to make sure that it at least appears to be linear. So on the TI-84, I'm going to go to press second, y equals, I need to turn my stat plot on. So if yours isn't on, go ahead and toggle it on and make sure the type is set for this first one. Notice my X list is in L1, Y list is in L2. That's the default. But when you start doing a lot of these, you'll end up changing them. You'll put list in L3 and L4. So just make sure you're aware of that. Now that it's on, I'm going to press zoom 9. So zoom, I normally don't scroll there. I just know it's zoom 9, but just so you can see what I'm actually accessing, I'm accessing zoom stat. Doesn't always do a good job, but normally with the scatter plots, it does a fine job. Now, if you recall, when I selected the regression equation to be put into Y1, that's why I did that. So I could see that line of best fit go through these points. Notice if I press y equals, there is that equation into y1. Because I told it to paste it there. I didn't want to actually have to write it down and put it in. I wanted it to automatically show up there. Again, let's look at the graph again. And let's see how this compares to the StatCrunch graph. Exactly the same shape, same line of best fit. And if you need to see the residuals, you can watch the next video.